If you've ever thought, we'll be fine, it's only 10 miles, this episode is for you. Today we're walking through 10 safety moves that prevent 90% of the chaos sailors run into, the stuff most people don't brief, don't service, and don't practice. You'll get the checklists, the drills, and the gear setups that quietly save lives and make every passage calmer. Quick favor before we start, if this helps you sail more and stress less, hit subscribe and the bell so I know to keep making the deep dive, no BS safety videos. Number 1, the 2-minute crew brief that actually works. Most skippers point and mumble at the gear and call it a safety briefing. That doesn't stick. Do this instead, and do it every time with first-timers and old hands. Start with life jackets. Put one on in front of everyone. Clip the crotch straps so the jacket can't ride up. Show the manual inflation tube and the pull handle. Say it out loud. If it doesn't auto-inflate, pull this. If you need to top it up, blow here. Walk to the radio. Lift the red flap. Show the distress button. Explain that pressing and holding it sends an automated distress with your identity and GPS position, but only if your MMSI is programmed. Say it out loud. Our radio has an MMSI. If I'm hurt, this is the button you press and hold. Now point to the card taped next to the set, your Mayday script. Read it once. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is boat name, MMSI, number. Our position is lat and long. We are nature of distress. We have number of people aboard. We are actions being taken. Reading it once burns the cadence into everyone's head. Name 3 critical switches. Propane solenoid is off unless cooking. Bilge alarm stays on so we hear water early. Nav lights get a quick check before sunset and before departure. Then name the backup skipper. If you're not conscious, who drives? Who calls? Who stops the boat? Keep it simple. Throttle back, wheel to wind, heave to or head into irons. Then call Mayday. Close with the flute plan. Before you cast off, text one shore contact your depart time, return time, route, and people aboard. If family calls the Coast Guard, that tiny plan sends search and rescue toward you, not in circles. The point of this whole brief is decisional confidence. Panic comes from not knowing the first move. Now everyone knows a first move they can execute without you. Number 2, read weather like a skipper, not like a tourist. The most dangerous day is the one that looked fine at the dock. Use the rule of 3. Pull 3 independent sources, a national marine forecast, a grid viewer, a dedicated weather app. If 2 agree and 1 is optimistic, plan for the worst case, not the pretty case. Treat small craft advisories as the day getting smaller than your boat. 20 to 33 knots with choppy or rough seas is not just more wind. It's autopilot strain, it's hardware fatigue, it's seas that throw people into corners. If your crew is green, that advisory is a red light. Think in windows. If your route crosses a bar or a tidal gate, your safety decision is the timing, not the bravado. If the gate closes, you don't push through, you wait. Summer squalls? A clear radar sweep doesn't guarantee comfort. Convection can double wind in minutes and turn a lazy run into a crash jibe factory. Rehearse the reef before the dark line arrives. 1 person on the halyard, 1 on the main sheet, 1 at the helm calling the timing. If you're running deep, rig a preventer early. Accidental jibes injure more sailors than almost anything else. When in doubt, choose water that matches your crew, not your ego. A 10-mile hop in flat water teaches more seamanship than a 10-mile flog that burns trust in sailing forever. Number 3, comms that get answered. DSC, AIS, and what to press when. Most boats carry a VHF and still don't use 90% of its safety power. Program your MMSI. That arms the red button to send your identity and position on channel 70 to the Coast Guard and to nearby DSC radios. Tape your Mayday card next to the set so nobody has to improvise phrasing while adrenaline is spiking. Pair the radio with AIS. A transponder is not a toy. It's see and be seen, especially at night, in haze, and when you're tired and your scan narrows. AIS puts your boat on the other guy's screen with name, course, and speed. It also gives you names and MMSIs to hail directly. Vessel on our starboard bow. This is sailing vessel name. AIS target name. We propose a port-to-port pass. Back it up. Keep a waterproof handheld VHF in the grab bag, charged and tested. Offshore, add a satellite messenger for two-way text so you can check in when cell coverage dies, and a voice sat phone if you're truly remote. Drill the red button. At the dock, every new crew member sends a test DSC call to a buddy radio. Pressing that button should be boring, not mysterious. Number 4, life jackets that actually work when you need them. Inflatable PFDs are great until they aren't. The failure modes are boring and predictable. Expired bobbins, loose CO2 cylinders, dead lights, abraded bladders. Service them on schedule and after any inflation. Open the cover, inspect the bladder for wear, weigh the CO2 cylinder, check that the automatic element is in date, test the light, replace O-rings that look tired, then fit them properly. Crotch or thigh straps keep the jacket down on your body instead of up around your face. Add a spray hood and a light.
Those two options are what let a tired, cold human breathe and be seen. Consider beacons. AIS-MOB beacons alert nearby AIS plotters immediately with a bearing and range to the casualty. That's how your own boat drives right back to your crewmate in minutes. PLBs and EPIRBs alert satellites and dispatch rescue. Offshore, the gold standard is both. AIS to guide your boat, PLB or EPIRB for the cavalry if you lose visual. Register your EPIRB or PLB so the alert is tied to your vessel data and your contacts. And once a season, inflate one jacket on deck, deflate it, and rearm it. Removing the mystery turns panic into a simple process. Number 5. Jacklines and tethers, rigged where they save you. The most common fatal scenario is a sailor overboard at night who simply disappears. Your tether setup is the defense. Run jackstays so clipped crew stay on the centerline, not skating along the tow rail. Fix them to strong points. Route them so you can clip in from the companionway before you step on deck. Carry a tether with 2 lengths, a short leg for moving around the cockpit and deck, and a long leg only when you must cross an obstruction. Put a serrated knife or cable cutter on a lanyard at the helm so you can cut a tether if someone is being dragged in the water. And make it a rule. At night and in foul weather, nobody goes forward of the cockpit unclipped. No exceptions. Number 6. Gas, fire, and fumes, the invisible trifecta. Most boat fires and explosions start with simple preventable faults. Propane that leaked into the bilge from a cracked hose or a loose fitting. A charging issue that cooked a battery. A fuel line that chafed through. Keep LPG boring. Cylinders live in a drained, vented locker that dumps overboard. Regulators stay high and dry. Every time you change a bottle, leak test with a bubble tester or a manometer. The solenoid is off unless someone is actively cooking. Propane is heavier than air. It sinks to the bilge and waits for a spark. Mount a gas detector low in the cabin and test it with real gas so you know the alarm tone. Don't silence an alarm and move on. Find the source. Write a fire plan. Everyone should know where each extinguisher lives, how to isolate gas, how to shut off the engine, and where the battery switches are. In the galley, reach for the fire blanket first to smother the pan. Only then reach for the extinguisher if you must. If a compartment is smoking, kill power and fuel from outside. Don't open a hot box and feed it oxygen. For distress signaling, electronic flares are now legal replacements in many waters for night and day signals. They don't expire into hazardous waste, and they're safe around kids. Check your local carriage rules and swap out the crumbly pyros before they crumble in your hands.
Run a 30-second drill at the dock. Someone calls, "Fire in the galley." One person shuts the gas. One person grabs the blanket or extinguisher. One person announces, "Mayday ready" by the radio. Then you stand down. The point is speed plus clarity. Number 7, flooding, and the first 5 minutes that decide the day.
When water's coming in, you don't have time for a meeting. Pre-rig your fixes. Tie a softwood bung to every seacock on a short lanyard and leave it hanging there. Label each valve so anyone can shut the right one without guessing. Sink drain, engine intake, head intake. Have 2 bilge pumps, one automatic, one high-capacity manual, and a bilge alarm you can hear underway. Keep rags, self-amalgamating tape, spare hose clamps, and a short length of rubber hose accessible. Many leaks are hose or clamp failures you can slow in seconds with those 3 things. Practice the flooding drill. Shout flooding. The helm kills the engine in case it's a shaft seal. One person isolates electrics below the waterline. One person goes to the pumps. One person traces the flow aft to forward with a torch and dry paper towels, looking for the wet trail. One person prepares bungs and a mallet. As soon as you slow the ingress, make the call. If you need help, that Mayday script is already taped to the set. There's no shame in calling early. There's a lot of regret in calling late. Number 8, engine and electrical. The boring checks that prevent distress calls. Most "we need a tow" stories started at the dock with a skipped check. Before you cast off, open the raw water seacock and check the strainer. At startup, look for a strong cooling water discharge. If it's weak, stop and fix it before you leave the fairway. Check belt tension and glance at alternator output on your panel. Carry spares that match your engine: an impeller, a belt, primary and secondary fuel filters, hose clamps, a short length of fuel hose, engine oil, and coolant. Expect that at some point in sloppy seas, a filter will clog. If you have the part and the muscle memory, it's an inconvenience, not a rescue. Verify the batteries. Check house and start voltages under load. Make sure battery tops are secure. Know which switch isolates what. If you use a parallel or emergency start function, practice the sequence so it's not a mystery under pressure. Have a plan for pot fields. Keep a boat hook and a line cutter ready. If you must reverse through floats, do it at idle with your hand resting on neutral. Getting a line on your prop in a tide race is a bad day. None of this is glamorous. All of it is seamanship. Number 9, man overboard prevention and recovery. Make the boat do the work. Don't fall in is not a plan, it's a wish. Prevention first.
Rig a boom preventer every time you're running or broad reaching so the boom can't fly across in a crash jibe. Keep the non-slip discipline. Shoes on, one hand for the boat, one for yourself. Heads up on wet decks, and always use the handholds. Clip in at night and in foul weather. That's not a suggestion, it's a rule that keeps families intact. For recovery, the boat is your primary tool. The instant someone goes over, shout "man overboard," point and don't stop pointing. Throw a flotation device. Hit the MOB button on the plotter. If appropriate, hit the DSC distress. Execute a quick stop or heave-to maneuver to keep visual. With a life sling or a loop, circle slowly to get the line to the casualty. Keep the prop away from them at all times. Your aim is to bring the stern or sugar scoop to the person so they can step or be hauled aboard. Practice under power first, then under sail. Make it boring in training so it isn't terrifying in reality. Beacon logic matters. An AIS-MOB beacon clipped to the jacket turns a dot on your plotter into a bearing and range that guides your helmsman straight back. A PLB or EPIRB calls the cavalry if you lose sight. Offshore, use both if you can. Redundancy buys time, and time buys lives. Number 10. Abandon ship is a process, not a leap. Prepare your grab bag like you'll never get a second chance to pack it, because you won't. In it, keep identification and comms, a handheld VHF, a spare GPS or a phone in a waterproof case, personal locator beacons, and copies of passports and boat documents on a USB, plus one printed sheet. For signaling, carry an approved electronic flare or, where required, pyrotechnics, plus strobes, a high-visibility laser pointer, and reflective tape. For survival, vacuum-packed water pouches, rations, thermal blankets, seasickness meds, sunscreen, a multi-tool, duct tape, and spare glasses. For navigation, a local paper chart, a pencil, and a notepad. For repair, heavy needles, thread, cordage, and self-amalgamating tape. About the raft, don't step down into it until the boat leaves you no choice. If you must launch, clip the painter to a strong point, deploy downwind, keep knives far from the painter, and board as dry as possible. Know the service date. Stow the raft where you can actually get it overboard without gymnastics. Mount the EPIRB float-free or keep it in the grab bag. Either way, registered and tested. What almost nobody tells you, the quiet upgrades that pay off. Move your jacklines to the Centerline so you can clip in from the companionway and stay away from the edge. Put a sharp, cheap knife on a lanyard at the helm. Install an AIS transponder, Class B or B+, if you sail in busy shipping lanes. You prevent collisions by being visible, not by being indignant.
Add a gas bubble tester in line on your LPG system so you leak test every time you swap bottles. Replace expired pyros with an electronic flare where legal, and keep one set of pyros only if your rules require them. Draw a handwritten, laminated map of your seacocks, breakers, and shutoffs and tape it inside the companionway so any crew member can act without asking, "Where's the—" And if you run a tender or any small powerboat, wear the kill cord lanyard. If you're rejected, it stops the engine. Skippers forget that and pay with their lives. Now the 10-minute dockside drill. Run this once a month. Radio. Send DSC test call between the fixed set and the handheld. Practice the Mayday script out loud once. Life jackets. Open one, check the cartridge and the bobbin dates, then orally inflate another and leave it overnight to confirm no leaks. Gas. Solenoid on, bubble test the system, burner on and off, quick sniff test at the locker and the stove. Fire. Someone calls galley fire. One shuts the gas, one grabs the blanket, one sets up the extinguisher. You simulate the discharge and stand down. Flooding. Shout flooding. One isolates power to below waterline circuits. One runs the pumps. One traces the flow and fits a bung on a random seacock to prove the motion. Man overboard. Toss a fender with a light. Circle back under power and practice pickup to the stern ladder or sugar scoop. Anchor. Drop and raise using the washdown and chain counter if fitted. Set a snubber, add chafe gear, and do a gentle reverse to feel the set. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is predictability. When the weird day comes, you fall to the level of your drills. Let's add 2 habits that tie all of this together. Habit 1. Rehearse the breaks first. On the first sail of any weekend, before you chase speed or trim, practice the pause moves. Heave to until everyone sees the boat sit quietly with a slick to windward. Practice a controlled jibe with a preventer so the boom crosses like a handshake, not a punch. Practice the quick stop man overboard at 5 knots until it feels slow and obvious. Once everyone knows how to stop, the rest of the day is calm. Habit 2. Standard words, short words. Confusion makes people freeze. Agree on 6-word commands before you leave the dock. Ready to tack in 10. Ease jib 2 feet. Midship spring on the cleat. Wheeled to wind and hold. The volume stays low, the words stay short, the boat stays calm. Since you're still here, one more midsail nudge. If this kind of practical safety work is your thing, hit subscribe. It tells me to keep making the checklists and the drills instead of the hype. Here's a simple pre-departure routine that wraps all of this into 5 minutes. 1. Weather. 2. One forecast agree. One disagrees. Plan for the worst. 2. Route and window. Bars and gates timed, or we wait. 3. Fuel and electrical. Batteries healthy, alternator charging, spare filters on board. 4. Raw water open, telltale strong. 5. Life jackets fitted, crotch straps clipped, lights tested. 6. Jacklines rigged, tethers at hand, knife at helm. 7. Gas leak tested, solenoid off until cooking. 8. Radio MMSI confirmed, Mayday card taped, handheld charged. 9. Bilge alarm on, pumps tested, bungs tied, labels visible. 10. Float plan texted, backup skipper named, everyone knows how to stop the boat. If you do that before leaving the slip, most will be fine days quietly become we were prepared days. That's the whole idea. Seamanship isn't about heroics, it's about making boredom your superpower. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your checklists, your habits, and your drills.
If this tightened your routine, subscribe and share it with the person who usually skips the safety talk. The next time something goes off script, you'll both be very glad you did. Now go run the 10-minute dockside drill, move your jacklines to the center line, tape that Mayday card next to the radio, and take back the calm.